Another brick van with a Harry Potter set. This is the Flying Ford Anglia. This is set 76424. It was released in March 2024. It has 165 pieces, 2 minifigures as well as 2 animals, and it cost about $15 when it was released. This is one of 7 Harry Potter sets that are being released here in this March wave. There's also a polybag, but I'm not sure when that's going to be released. This, of course, is the flying car that Mr. Weasley enchanted and that the Weasley boys used to rescue Harry from the Dursleys in the second movie, or Chamber of Secrets. There's been, I think, 5 different mini-scale versions of this car, so this is not a new design. It's actually very similar to the one we got a couple years ago in the set 4 Privet Drive. That was back in 2020. This is the first time that this set has been included on its own. It's usually part of a larger set, like the one I just mentioned, for example. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the vehicle itself. So here is the vehicle, and like I said, this looks very similar to others. Let me throw a couple of pictures up here of some previous versions. But it does have a lot of different angles. They've done this in several different ways. I kind of like the way this one turned out as far as creating these angles here for the back. They do have a back window done with these clear pieces. There's of course, a license plate down here, your turn signals, brake lights. The trunk does open, and it's fairly good size. You can fit, it comes with a suitcase that you can throw in there. Let's go ahead and throw scabbers in there, for example. You could throw some other stuff in there, but it does fit pretty well as far as what you can fit inside this this trunk. So that's good. You can see the white striping here on the vehicle is done in the bricks. Then there is a white stripe here on the door to kind of match with that. Unfortunately, it is pretty faded white, kind of almost a light blue, because I think they should have used a little thicker printing maybe here to get that more white so it would match this. But that's okay. It still looks all right. The doors do open, and there is room for 2 minifigures to fit inside. Now, you notice they do have the jumper plates down here. You might be able to see that little jumper plate right there, which allows the minifig to stand, because these minifigures are from year 2, so they have these short, non-moving legs, so they can't bend their legs to sit down. So they actually stand inside of the vehicle. The little mirrors are done with these 1x1 clip pieces here. And then, of course, the front, I really do like the way that they use this fender piece to create that circular or arch here in the front of the vehicle. The trunk, of course, or the hood here looks really nice. And then the headlights there, of course, the same license plate number. Of course, the other side looks very similar. We take the roof off here, take the windshield off as well. You can see how there's the steering wheel, of course, being a UK vehicle, is on the right-hand side. And then here's like the glove box and some other maybe gauges here. So there's a little sticker that represents that. And like I said, the figures do fit just fine inside here, but they do have to stand. You have to get their arms way up. It's very tight fit, but everybody will fit inside the vehicle. Wand's probably not a good idea. So there you can see how our character will fit inside the vehicle. Got the rear window you can see there as well. So overall, a pretty good representation, I think, of the vehicle that from the Chamber of Secrets. Of course, this vehicle was seen in a couple other movies as well after it moved off to the Forbidden Forest. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the minifigures. Here's the minifigures included with our Ford Anglia. And it's quite appropriate, of course, as Ron and Harry were the ones that drove the flying car all the way to Hogwarts, following the Hogwarts Express. As you can see, these I believe we've gotten these torsos before Ron's wearing this kind of nougat colored or light tan sweater with a red shirt underneath. They both have these small non-bendable legs. This was year 2 after all, so they would have been around 12, 13 years old. Ron's got, of course, his red eyebrows, red hair. Harry is done well with this kind of, with his hairpiece that actually exposes his little lightning scar you can see there on his forehead. So very nicely done. I like this red color, and the printing there on the front is pretty nice on the plaid coat that he's wearing. Of course, no side printing or anything on these figures, and then you can see the backs are just continuations of the front of the torsos. Each has a alternate expression. Ron there looks a little scared. Harry, of course, is also freaking out a little bit. And then once again, you can see that little lightning scar there through the part in the hair, which has been a staple of these Harry Potter minifigures pretty much since they came out. So 2 good alternate expressions for our characters. Like I said, perfectly good minifigures. They look pretty similar to ones we have seen in the past. They probably are not unique to this set, but still look pretty good. The set also comes with 2 creatures. So here we have Scabbers, which is Ron, or really the Weasley family rat. Been around for a long time. Turns out this is Wormtail, as we find out, a couple years after this particular set was themed. This one's got a little bit of a mark there from the processing part. I've also seen a white patch of hair up here on some of these Scabbers, so this is perhaps a different version, or maybe just a regular rat mold, but looks pretty good. And of course we have this minifigure scale Hedwig, which I think is nicely printed here on the front with these feathers and this kind of a gray, the black beak there, just a little touch there to show off the beak. The eyes are done very nicely with that little yellow highlighting underneath them, which I thought adds a lot and makes them look really good. So there are our 2 creatures that come with this set. Let's go back and I'll give you my overall impressions of the set. Coming back to the main build here, as you can see, the 2 minifigures do fit inside. I've actually got Scabbers tucked in there as well. Hedwig's just kind of resting there on the front fender. But overall, it's a very nicely done build. It's very solid. It's going to hold up to play quite well. The wheels are nice, so it will move around and act like a car. It's about 6 studs wide, which is pretty standard for a lot of these vehicles. So it'll fit on like the road plates and that kind of stuff very nicely. As far as value goes, this is a $15 set with 165 pieces, which is under 10 cents a piece, which is kind of surprising for a Harry Potter set. The licensed sets tend to be a little bit more expensive a lot of times. So I think this is a really good value. You get 2 minifigures, you get you get Scabbers and Hedwig. So I think overall it's a really good value, especially for a licensed set. So once again, I think it's nice to have a inexpensive version of this car available for people who are interested in Harry Potter and want to get into collecting Lego Harry Potter, for example. Hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this Harry Potter set. There's 6 more to go. I'll be reviewing those soon. And until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to see more of my content. I've left a link to my other Harry Potter reviews up here on the screen.